Hey everyone, Shane here with etrailer.com. Today I have a 2023 Porsche Macan. I'm going to walk through how to install the Stealth Hitch rack receiver. With the Stealth Hitch rack receiver, you're only going to get the receiver as well as the cross tube and everything. Keep in mind, this is not designed for towing like a standard hitch. This is only designed for racks, like bike racks and cargo carriers. My recommendation, if you ever plan on towing, I would just go with a full kit rather than trying to add on the wiring and the ball mount later, because the fascia has to be removed on this vehicle, and it's a lot better if you have to remove it one time, get everything installed, than to remove it once and then have to come back and remove it again. You take a chance of breaking some clips that might be up here in the side, as well as along the body lines. So I recommend, if you're looking at getting this hitch, go ahead and get the full kit, because it's going to come with this anyway, as well as your ball mount and your wiring. You're going to have a 600-pound max tongue weight, which is a downward pressure on the inside of the receiver tubes. You want to make sure you're not exceeding that. If you're just looking at the rack receiver, it's going to give you a 2-inch by 2-inch opening, so it's going to fit a lot of different accessories. Hitch pin hole is going to be 5/8 inch in diameter. Standard 5/8 hitch pin and clip. Does not come with it, however you can find them here at eTrailer. You'll notice it's going to have this tube right here. What this is designed to do, and why they call it the Stealth Hitch, is because it's completely hidden and this is removable. In order to install this, first thing you need to do is unlock it. Keys are going to be hidden right inside the tube here, underneath the rubber plug. Take your handle on this side, turn it towards the front. Take your receiver, push it up into place like that, and it'll lock in. Then come back, you're going to push this in and then lock it. That'll keep anybody from being able to remove it. In order to get this out, you're just going to do it in reverse. Unlock it, the lock will slide out. You're going to reach right up on the passenger side here, and you're going to turn this handle forward. And then slide it out. Once you move your rack receiver, you can put this plug in place when you're not using it. That keeps any dirt and grime from getting up inside of that block. As far as the installation process, you are going to have to remove the fascia. When you remove the fascia, the wiring cannot be disconnected on this passenger side. Keep that in mind. You're going to have some kind of rack or stand or table or something that you can take your fascia and set it on that table while you're installing the cross tube on it. Other than that, it's really not that hard to take off. You have a few bolts in the wheel well, 4 across the bottom here, a couple on the top, and it should pop right out in place. If it's something you may not have the time or the space to do, check out our dealer locator, find someone near you that's capable of putting it in. If it is something you want to give yourself a try, you can do it in your garage or your driveway with a few simple tools. Follow along with me and I'll walk through how to do it. Start your installation. You're going to remove all your floor coverings. We're going to go to each side. We're going to remove this panel. Just going to pull out like that. You'll have the same thing on the driver's side. We'll set these aside. Next, we're going to remove the spare tire and then our foam holder that holds our jack and our tools in place. T30 Torx bit. We're going to come to our tie downs. You're going to have 4, 2 on each side. Remove the 2 screws that are on the top of each one. We're going to lift these out of place as well. So at the bottom of your threshold, you're going to have a plastic nut on each side that you need to remove. Use a 10mm socket to remove those. Then we need to remove our threshold. We have a Bose speaker in place here. I'm going to see if I can get it out without having to remove that. If we have to remove this, there's a T30 Torx bit on this side and this side. We can take it, pull those out, and just kind of slide it forward. I think I can get it past it though. We're going to pull out until it clears the stud where we took off that plastic nut, then we're just going to pull up. We'll pull this out and set it aside. On each side of the vehicle, you're going to take your T30 Torx bit. You're going to remove the bolt that's in the center of this along with this rubber stopper. On each side of the vehicle, we need to remove this plastic cover to get access to two bolts that are holding the taillight in place. Take a plastic trim panel tool, and you need to do it this way. We're going to go to the inside here, and if it makes it easier, you can come up like this. Give yourself a little space there. We need to get in behind it like this and pry this edge up over top this rubber seal. The reason we want to do that is this plastic piece has little tabs that hold it inside the edge of the light right here. We don't want to break those off or else this piece won't stay in. Once you get both covers off, in this corner, you're going to take a T25 Torx bit and remove that bolt. With the 4 screws out, you're going to take your wheel well liner and pull it out like this, kind of tuck it back behind your tire like that. We're going to have 3 more on the inside. You're going to need a little extension if you don't have a longer T25. There's going to be 3 on the inside. You're going to have 1 here, come right up above it. You're going to have 1 here, and you come all the way up. You're going to have 1 that goes in like this, connects these 2 pieces together. Now it's a good idea to take some painter's tape, tape these 2 lines, this line, and the bottom of your tail light, because the fascia is going to have to come off. The reason I like to do this is so that 1, when we're taking it off, 2, when we're putting it back on, if these 2 pieces happen to overlap, you don't scratch the paint. Next, we're going to come underneath the vehicle. T25 Torx bit. We're going to have 4 screws we need to remove. 1 on each wheel well on the bottom, and then 2 right here in the middle, connecting this panel to the middle here. Now this part's really important. You need to have a cart ready over on your passenger side because we can't, once we pull the fascia off, we can't disconnect the wiring. Otherwise, you have to take it, you have to call Porsche and they have to reprogram the vehicle. So have a cart ready so that when we pull it off, we can set it on that cart. It's also going to be ideal to have a second set of hands to help set it up on the cart. What we're going to do is we're going to start here, we're going to work our way across. There's going to be little tabs that run across here. If it feels like it's holding on tight, you may have to take a trim panel tool and kind of put it in there to push down. These are actually coming off pretty easy. These are these little tabs right here. We want to try not to break those off. So with an extra set of hands, pull our fascia back. On your driver's side, there's going to be a little hose for your sprayer. You can see right there, that little, you're just going to pull that little black clip back and pop that hose out. You want to make sure that that fluid doesn't touch any of the paint. On your passenger side, we'll take a trim panel tool. We're going to pop this wiring loose. You're going to have a sensor right here. We can unclip the sensor, pull that loose, and we'll pop this clip out here. And we want to make sure this is just going to give us a little extra room. We don't disconnect this plug. If for some reason that plug happens to come disconnected, you got to make sure everything is plugged back in before the vehicle is started. Now we'll just take it, flip it up onto a cart. Inside the cargo area, you're going to look for this block. There's going to be a bolt here and bolt here. That's what's holding your reinforcement beam in place. We need to remove both of those on each side of the vehicle. Once you get both bolts out on each side, we'll take our factory bumper beam and remove it. So next, you're going to take your cross tube and you're going to have two brackets that look like this. You'll notice that the holes in the cross tube are offset. I'm going to make sure that this hole that's closest to this edge is towards the outside of the vehicle and not towards the center of it. So what you want to do, if you want to double check yourself, you're going to take this, you can slide it into the hole where you took out your cross beam. This side is going to slide into the frame rail. This side is what is going to be attached to the side of the cross tube on the hitch. You notice how I have the other one here. What we're going to do is we're going to end up flipping it over and sliding it into our vehicle. That'll allow this to be out towards the outside. So a little bit easier way to explain it is these four holes are going to connect to the side. If we set them on like this, when we flip it over, you'll notice this outside edge here is on the outside here. If we were to flip it this way, it'd put these holes to the inside. So we'll do it like this. We're going to take our hex bolts. We're going to get a couple of them in there so it holds it. We're going to put on a lock washer and a nut. That'll allow it to support itself. And then we can put in our remaining two bolts. Now what we're going to do, if you install it like I did here, we're going to flip it over so that these two plates are hanging down. And your instructions is going to tell you to tighten and torque these, but to make sure that the plate is lined with the top of the frame rail. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my bolts in first, get it pulled up tight, and then I'll come back and tighten and torque these. And make sure you get these bolts, if you pass them down through there, they're going down through the bottom of that bracket because they thread in down to the bottom of the frame rail. So what I would recommend is maybe threading them in all the way until they're tight by hand first. That way you know they're all the way down in there. I'll go ahead and torque these to the specifications and the instructions. Now we'll come back with a 3/4 inch socket and wrench. We'll tighten and then torque down our 4 bolts and nuts on each side. Next, we're going to take our block. To make sure that the lock is facing the driver's side, the handle is on the passenger's side. We're going to slide it right in between those two plates. We're going to have some long hex bolts. We'll go through from the passenger's side over so that you're able to turn the handle. Put on your nylon lock nuts. Then we'll come back and we'll tighten and torque those to the specifications and the instructions. Once you get that torque down, then you can move to trimming the bottom of your fascia. Next, you need to come to the inside of your fascia, the lower part of it, find center, and you're going to mark it per the instructions. Then we're going to come back and we're going to cut that out. I'm going to use an oscillating tool. You can use a rotary tool, anything like that. Now with the next set of hands, we'll go ahead and reinstall our fascia. Don't forget your wiring on the one side for your sensor if you unplugged it, and then your hose on this side. Make sure, double check that you have all of your wiring connected back here before you put this back on. Again, if you start the vehicle and something's not connected, you will have to get the car reprogrammed from the dealership. As far as putting your fascia back on, you're just going to do it in reverse order from the way you took it off. Once you have it trimmed, you got your fascia reinstalled in reverse order from the way you took it off, you're ready to go. It's going to do it for a look at installation of the Stealth Hitch rack receiver on a 2023 Porsche Macan.